Hello everyone and welcome to the 25th episode of the Nature's Cozy podcast. My name is Allison and I am the maker behind Nature's Cozy. You can find me by that username on Instagram, Goodreads, and if you are on Ravelry as well. If this is your first time checking out my video, this is a making / what I've been reading video where I mostly talk about knitting, sometimes a little bit of sewing or other crafts, rarely other crafts. And then at the end of the video, I talk about books and all of that. So I hope everyone is doing well out there. It's a little bit of a gloomy day today, and it is also the first day of fall. So it is September 22nd, and it is definitely a first day of fall kind of day. It is rainy, it is in the low to mid 60s, it is gloomy, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. I have my fall candle lit on some spice cider by Wax and Wool, and yeah, I've had a pretty good past weekend and few days, and so just thought I would share a little bit before we kind of start diving into things. So on the job hunt, I had an interview last Friday for a job. It went okay. I haven't had a job interview in a very long time. I've had a lot of academic interviews, but I think I've only ever had one actual job interview outside of academics because a lot of jobs I got, I just knew someone. So this is kind of new, a little bit of new territory for me. But yeah, I think it was an okay first interview, but now I know what I can do better for any future interviews. So everything's a lesson, right? But besides that, so the job interview I had was kind of far from me. I mean, it would have been worth the trip if I got the job, but it was in South Elgin, which is really close to St. Charles and Geneva, Illinois. So Nick, my fiance, and we went out to Geneva after my job interview, and it was just really sweet. Geneva's a really cute little town. It's by Fox River in Illinois. Very, very cute. A lot of cute shops. So, we just had dinner over there. I went to my favorite bookstore called Harvey's Tales, and I got Little Women and Anne of Green Gables. I have a copy of Anne of Green Gables from when I was a kid, but it's somewhere packed away at my parents' house, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy a new one, and eventually I'll find the old one. And then this past weekend, Nick and I kind of did a belated, let's celebrate our 11-year anniversary. Our anniversary was on September 13th, and it was very low-key. We actually went to this nature center. It was a new to me nature center. He was there once before a couple weeks ago, and they had some wildlife there, a lot of birds of prey, but they did have a coyote, and they're animals that have been rehabilitated, but they can't be out into the wild anymore. Because survival would be very low, or in the coyote situation, somebody thought that was a dog, a puppy, so it's just too comfortable around humans to be put back out into the wild. And it was just really pretty, very open area with a lot of prairie, and there's a little creek going through it, so many birds. They had their own beehives. It was really, really awesome. And then yes, and this past weekend we kind of celebrated our belated anniversary. We went apple picking, and I made an apple pie a couple days ago, which turned out so much better than last year's apple pie. And then we also went to a dahlia show at the Chicago Botanic Gardens, and I have some clips of that I'm going to put at the end of this video. The reason why I'm putting it at the end is because I've started to take videos on my phone. So I record with a DSLR camera, but when I'm out and about, I don't want to whip it out. So I just I think last time when I recorded on my phone and had it in the beginning, some of the images were kind of blown out. So I think this time I'm going to put it at the end, I don't know why I'm doing that. I just want to do it that way. Just to kind of see if it still comes out okay. And if it does, then I'll continue with my phone, and I won't bring out my camera to do nature clips and stuff. But yeah, so if you're interested in kind of seeing some of the like flowers that we saw, like some of the dahlias, there's a corpse flower that the Botanic Gardens has as well. We saw a great blue heron, which was awesome. I'll have some of that at the end for you. Before I start getting into my whips and my 1FO, I just want to kind of touch base with you all because I mentioned a cal that I wanted to host in October, and I mentioned it to a few people outside of my podcast too. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm probably not going to do it, at least for this year. I did write a lot of ideas of what I want to do, but I honestly haven't had much creative energy to put towards anything besides just knitting. Even if you go on my Instagram, I try to post more photos, but I barely posted any photos these past few weeks because I just haven't had any like motivation or energy to figure out any knitting photos or how I want to like show off my knitting. So I don't know. I feel kind of bad because I did mention it, even though I didn't go like totally in depth about what I wanted to do. And I know I could probably still do my cal on a smaller scale than what I have envisioned in my head, but I really would love to do it the way I originally set out to do it, and at that point I just don't want to do it. And also because I am still on the job hunt, and like let's say I get a job next week, I don't know how much like time or energy I really have to dedicate to the cal again the way that I originally wanted to do it. So I'm just gonna knit as much as I can until I get a job, because once that happens, my knitting time is going to be that's gonna just decrease a significant amount. But because I am not doing the cal anymore, I decided that I was going to do a giveaway for this episode. So if you are interested in doing the giveaway, it is open to everyone. If you are international, I will cover up to $15 worth of shipping, and then I would just ask if you can cover the rest. If you did want to enter into the giveaway, no pressure. If you are in the US, I'm based in the US, so you don't have to worry about shipping at all. And what I would like you to comment down below is just what are you excited for this fall, this October, and November. Just something that you're excited for, or maybe one of your favorite fall activities. Just honestly anything related to fall. Your favorite books, your favorite movies, I don't care, as long as it's fall related. What I'm going to give away is this skein of Explorer Knits. Sorry that the band's a little creakled. This is her Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and the mini is called I Lava You. And I think this colorway, even though it's a national park, it's very Halloween-y to me, but I know not everyone's like into Halloween too, so this could just be straight up national park for you. And if you are into Halloween, this can be a national park / Halloween socks. So here's one more look. And then the next thing that I am going to give away is this little progress keeper from Forest Charm. So it's a little pumpkin with a little stone on here. And yeah, I just thought it'd be really cute. I think again, it's like it's fall themed, but it's not necessarily Halloween themed if you're not into that. So this will be the giveaway, and I think what I am going to do is I'm going to try that whole community thing where you can make like posts if you are subscribed to me, so you have to be a subscriber. And then that way I'm going to actually pull a winner on October 1st. So that way I can get this out as soon as possible. I'm assuming I'm going to have this up by like Friday, no later than Saturday. So that gives people about a week to watch this. And yeah, so I will pull a winner on October 1st, and then in the community part, which I think is when you get like notified about sorry, my cat is like being crazy right now because she wants to play, so she's climbing on everything. But yeah, so when you're subscribed in like the community section, or like when you, the area where you see like your new videos pop up, you'll see that when I announce the winner, I'll announce it there. Before I get into any kind of knitting, I actually want to show just a little bit of sewing. So I actually have been sewing a little bit. I have been making myself a bag and my aunt a bag. Her birthday is on Saturday, so this is like a birthday present for her. And I also finally cut out the material to make a gypsum skirt by Sew Liberated. I just have to sew it, but everything is cut out. But because I'm not done making my aunt's bag yet, and yeah, I have to do some trimmings right now and stuff and then sew it all together. But I just thought this was really cute material, and I just kind of wanted to share. So look how cute that is. She loves gnomes, like all kinds of gnomes. She likes a little bit more of, would you like consider like the more Scandinavian type of gnome where the face really isn't showing, which is like popular everywhere nowadays, but I still love this little garden gnome, so I had to get them for her. And I got this material at Hawthorne Supply Co, which I will link down below in case you're looking for a really cute fabric to make your own bags or make whatever you want. And that's really it. That's all I have for sewing. But hopefully next week, or not next week, but the next time I podcast, I'll have a skirt to show you guys. So with that being said, I do have 4 projects to talk about today. And the first one is my only finished object, the little baby socks. I love making baby socks so much. They're so cute. Like, they're so tiny. Oh man. Shadowfax. Alright. So, if you are curious, if this material looks familiar to you, that is because I knit my cousin is having a baby. Let me backtrack a little bit. My cousin is having a baby like mid to end November, and I made her a pair of socks, which I showed the last time I podcasted as a finished object, and I made her daughter little baby socks too. And so I wanted to make like mom and me type of socks. And so this is a Homespun House, little house in the big woods. And I used Tabby Gandee, her perfect newborn socks pattern, which is what I usually use when I've made it before. And yeah, and okay, so for these socks, in the past when I have made the newborn socks, I just use DPNs. But I actually used Magic Loop for these because I was going to be in the car, and knitting with DPNs in the car is a pain. It also makes my boyfriend a little bit nervous in case something bad happened. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and get myself some US ones, and I got the 32-inch cord, and I liked it. I actually loved it, which, if you know me, if you watched any of my podcasts in the past, I probably have talked smack about knitting socks on Magic Loop. When I first got into sock knitting, I would watch videos on Magic Loop and I'm like, I'm not doing this, this is not for me. When I started doing some more Magic Loop with like sleeves and stuff, I'm like, I would never knit socks on Magic Loop, especially since I knit on the 9-inch circular needles, and you know, to me those are so superior. But guys, I take back all of my smack talking about the Magic Loop because I really enjoyed it. And I know like Kay, the crazy sock lady, she uses like DPNs, the 9-inch circulars, and Magic Loop to kind of, you know, do something different to like spice it up a bit in the sock knitting. And I actually think I might use Magic Loop for all my texture socks, at least in this moment. It's not like the fastest. 9-inch circulars are much faster, but I actually really liked the rhythm of just like pulling the needle and looping it, and yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. And so I'm probably going to be, the next pair of socks I'm casting on are test knit, and I'm going to be magic looping those. Yeah, plus I'll be honest with you, I used to, now that I've mixed it up a bit, so I would say that I would mainly sock knit and have like a shawl or a garment kind of on the side, but now I kind of just work on them all equally. And with the 9-inch circulars, because of that, going from bigger needles with longer cords and then going to the smaller ones, I noticed my hands were actually cramping up a little bit more, especially with textured socks of any kind, with any purling, to be honest. But with the magic loop, it was nice because I didn't have to worry about it. So I will keep you updated if I still feel that way after working on an adult size pair of socks. I'm going to continue the sock train and talk to you about what is in my Knitting Nelly bag, which has become my favorite bag this season. And I am working on my fiance's engagement socks. So if you are new or just haven't watched the episode, like 2 episodes ago, when Nick and I went out to Colorado, we stopped at My Sister Knits, and I said pick out a skein of sock yarn and I'll do the same, and I'll make us, you know, engagement socks to commemorate the trip. And so he got this Earl Fiber Co colorway called Frog and Toad Are Friends, and it is a 75-25% nylon, or 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's a 4-ply. And this is kind of how far I am. I'm not, this isn't like a main knit or anything like that. This is just more like, oh, we're going out and we're in the car and I don't want to work on anything big. And you can see I also have my Forage Charm, which is the same one as the one I'm going to be giving away. And yeah, I really like how they're turning out. I think they're really nice to work on during the fall time. The reason why Nick picked out this colorway is because he said it reminded him of the forest, and I agree. So that's it. Just vanilla sock, 72 stitches. I'm obviously working this one on the 9-inch circulars, and this is just kind of the project to work on when we're going out and about, or I'm going to my parents' house and I don't want to bring something bigger with me. The next project that I have to show you is a gift knit. This is for my aunt. Her birthday is on Saturday, as I mentioned earlier. This will not be done by Saturday. I already told her. She was giving me some lip there because it wasn't going to be done. All in good fun though. Because she did ask for this cardigan quite a while ago. She's like, well, you knew my birthday was coming up and it's not gonna be ready in time. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But I am almost done. I'll probably actually have this knit up by her birthday. It's just going, you know, blocking is probably gonna take a few days for this to properly dry, but I am working on her Fluff Nugget. And I got one sleeve done. She's quite shorter than I am. So her sleeves are a bit shorter, but yeah, I did, she tells you to do the button band last, but I did it first because I figured it'd be a lot easier to do a button band when this cardigan was in vest form versus with sleeves. And if you're not familiar, this is a Fluff Nugget cardigan by Becky Sørensen, right? Or Sereno? I can't think of her last name. I think this happens every time. But she is Soprano Knits on Instagram and I think on YouTube too. But I always have all that linked down below if you are interested. And I am using Nutiden yarn. I didn't look up how to pronounce this either. If you don't know by now, I just podcast kind of on the fly here. I think it's like Bodiget or something like that. I'm probably butchering it. It starts with a B. It's kind of spelled like that, the way it sounds in my opinion. But yeah, it's really, really pretty. I love the way this is turning out. I think I did a better job picking up stitches than on my Fluff Nugget. And I'm knitting the size 6 for her. I did go up a needle size on the body, so the ribbing calls for a US 8, which I am using, and then the body calls for a US 10. I'm using a US 11. It does make my stitches a little bit bigger and, in my opinion, a little bit fluffier. And I'm just knitting it like that because that's how I knit mine, and that's the one that she tried on, and that's the one that she liked. And so we just kind of based what size to make her off of that. This is kind of the colorway. These are plates 3 and 4, so it's probably just going to take me about 4 plates total to make this for her. Again, my gauge is larger than Becky's, so I use less yarn. And then I'm showing you all this now because this will be done before the next time I podcast. But I'm going to, there's a button shop. If you're in Chicago or you're familiar with Chicago, there's a yarn shop called Knit One Chicago, and right next to Knit One, like 2 storefronts down, I think, or 3, there's a button shop and also a ribbon shop. And the lady has a lot, sorry, I have like wool on my nose. She has a lot of buttons, and so I went there to buy my aunt's buttons, and I picked up these buttons. And I made 4 buttonholes. I did make the body a little bit longer. I knit 14 inches on the body total because my aunt wanted a little bit of a longer cardigan, but I just think this will be really nice. So yeah, I am excited to finish that up so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And then give that to her for her birthday. So she's already kind of tried it on because I had to figure out how long to make the sleeves, and I think it looks really good on her. So I'm just excited to kind of finish this up. There is a blue jay right there, if you can hear it. My cat is like hardcore staring. Yeah. Blue jays, in my opinion, are really cool birds, but they're bullies. We have a few in our backyard that like to, you know, chit chat, and I love hearing them. I love blue jays. So the last project that I have to show you is in another Shop Knitting Nelly bag. Oh, and the Fluff Nugget is in the Prickly Owl bag. We're going very fall, obviously, with our bags now. And then this one was a Shop Knitting Nelly bag that I bought a few years ago from her. And in this bag, since I've been talking about it since April, if you haven't guessed, it is my half and half triangles wrap. And so I'm not going to go too in depth about it because, again, I've been talking about this in every episode since April. So if you are wanting to learn more about it, you can go to one of my older episodes or just wait until the next episode because this better be done. This better be done. Well, it will be done. It doesn't have to be done, but I do want to get the deadline of October 15th to enter into the cal. And so this is what I have still of my second color. I weighed it right beforehand and it said 50 grams of yarn. So I'm really interested to know how far this is going to go because I'm pretty dang close to being done with this. And the last time I showed you this shawl, as I'm kind of all tangled up, it's massive, so, you know, it takes a little bit to kind of situate. But I was here. So this is kind of the end. And I was there last time I podcasted. And now I have made a lot of progress. Yeah, it's kind of obnoxious to show on camera, but so so that was just my progress keeper from just to show you guys where I was last time. But then I have like three things going on over here. So this is the actual stitch marker, so I know where to make my turns. This is a progress keeper that I'm putting every 5 rows. So my goal is to knit at least 5 stitches every day, or like to wrap 5 stitches every day. This is a free pattern by Purl Soho called the Half and Half Triangles Wrap. I realized I didn't say it if you are new to this podcast. So this is essentially a shawl that you knit short rows to get this kind of shape. And I'm doing the method that they use in their pattern, which is the wrap and turn. And then this stitch marker is just marking when I have 30 stitches left. So I have 56 stitches left till I reach the end. So we're getting there. We are getting there. I feel very confident I will have this done by the time that the cowl is over with. And I did buy yarn for a second one, which I will talk about in a few minutes. But yeah, this would essentially, this and the no frills is really the 2 projects that I've been working the most on this past month, plus the little baby socks and of course my knit socks too. But these 2 are really the main projects right now that need to kind of be done. So, and that's it for my projects. But I have a little bit of stash acquisition and obviously books I would love to talk about. And so let me grab all that for you right now. So the first stash acquisition that I received are some Halloween themed skeins of yarn, and it is these 2. So these are both by Nomadic Yarns. This one is called the Black Flame Candle, and this one is Sarah Sanderson's. These are both Hocus Pocus themed yarns. And I'm really excited to knit with them. I definitely want to cast this one on October 1st. And yeah, so I got 50-gram skeins because 1, honestly, I can use some shorties, and 2, it's kind of like buying 2 for the price of 1. So I can work with 2 both beautiful yarns, but not spend as much money. So I'm very excited about working with these, and I'm really excited about casting these on. So that's kind of it for that. These are both on her 75-25 base, which is called Trusty Sock. And I also got that because I usually knit my 4-ply and my 2-ply very similarly. I might have to put a row or 2 more on the 4-ply, but usually I don't. So it's kind of like I get more yardage for my sock if I do the 4-ply. Or I get like just more yarn left over, and for shorties for my foot size, that's important. So that is stash number 1. And then stash number 2 is I got the first color of my next half and half triangles wrap, and that is turmeric yellow. This is a pretty good, I think, accurate right here. Yeah. It's gonna get a little blown out, I think, if I put it here. But it is really like turmeric yellow if you Google that color. So it's like an orangey yellow, and I love it. I don't know if I'm gonna cast this on right when I finish my half and half triangles wrap, because I do want to finish. There's a few things that I would like to work on and get finished in October, and also I am going to be participating in the West Knits Cal this year, which I guess I'll pull that yarn and show you guys too real quick. But yeah, so I just I want to cast this on, but also I just want to give some knits some attention, so maybe I'll take a couple-week break. And then I'm 99% sure I'm going to be using honey pink with those colors because I love the honey pink colorway. Sorry, my hair is getting like so frizzy. I love the honey pink colorway, but I also think wheat flower would look really nice too. So I'm not like, I mean, I'm pretty much sold on the honey pink, but yeah, that's the wheat flower is also the other color I was kind of thinking about too. So yeah, And then let me grab that the yarn for the West Knits Cal. And then for the West Knits Cal, I'm not sure what order these are gonna go in yet. And this is all stash yarn. But I am using Woolberry Fiber Co. And these are the colors that I'm using. So I'm very excited about this. Sorry, they're all just kind of, yeah, I'll go more in depth about them when I actually cast on. The cast on date is October 8th. That's when you get the clues. So again, I'll talk more about these, but I just kind of wanted to share my palette. And that's 5 skeins I'll be using out of my stash, which is great. And then that's it for like yarn. I did get my Hello Lavender Into the Wild order. I'm actually wearing, I got earrings from her, so I'm wearing those right now. And then I also got the Coyote inspired Progress Keepers. And they're just so pretty. And then I got 2 new magazines. The first one, Pom Pom. I love every single pattern out of this issue. Everything is so good. So this is their Roots and Branches issue for this fall. And I'm only going to share 2 of my favorites because, like, truly I love every single pattern out of this book. But the one that I really want to knit is the Sockness cardigan. I might be pronouncing that kind of wrong. But it's the one that's on this front cover here. So this is like the cropped version of the cardigan. I'll probably make the longer one because I like longer cardigans. And that's the longer one. And I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. And then the other thing that I'll probably make out of this, that'll be sooner than later, because I believe they said this was sport weight yarn. And I have a skein of sport weight yarn that I had no idea what to do with. And then I saw this pattern, which is called Overstory. And I just think it's gorgeous too. I mean, again, every pattern is beautiful in this Pom Pom magazine. I love it. So, and then the last other magazine I got was the new Lineup magazine. I haven't like gone too in depth about this one just yet, but there is one sweater that when I flipped to it, I was like, oh yeah. And it's called Water Lilies, and you can do it both as a pullover and as a cardigan. And here is the pullover. It kind of reminds me of the Magnolia Blooms sweater. And then you can see the cardigan right here. But yeah, it's really beautiful. I mean, it's like different than the Magnolia Blooms, obviously, but I think just because it's like that lacy motif and it reminds me a little bit of flowers and stuff. Yeah, I just think it's really pretty. So that's it for acquisitions. I will be talking about books now, so if that's not your jam, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more or enter in the giveaway, please hit the subscribe button. And for those of you who are interested in books, I finished 2 books and I'm on my 3rd. So the first book that I finished was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. I believe I gave it 3.5. I might have given it 3. And she's a phenomenal writer. I think her writing is really, really good. I really love the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six yet. But if you have read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, one of her husbands, McRiva, this is kind of a story about his kids and his, like, their mother and their relationship. And I feel like this book could have just been so much more. So the first part, so the story takes place, the present day of the story is in the 80s. I think it's like 1983 or something. Yeah, August 1983. And it kind of keeps going back and forth between present day and the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I believe it starts in the 50s of the mother and father, so June and Mick, and then their 4 kids as well. And they are like surfers as well. The oldest is a model, and I kind of thought this book, wasn't sure what to expect. The characters were not what I expected. I was kind of expecting like some book about like rich surfer kids, but that's not what this book is at all. And I really liked that. I really loved, I loved all the siblings. I really liked Nina, who is the oldest. I really liked her development throughout the story. So the first half kind of goes back and forth. I don't think the second half does go back and forth between the present and the past. And the first one, at times, it was a little kind of draggy, and then the second part, it like focused more on the actual party that was happening, but it was like a chapter about like the siblings, and then it'd be a chapter about random guests. And I'm assuming that she's writing that to kind of set the scene of the party and how like crazy and wild it's getting. But I would have actually liked to see more of the development of the siblings and seeing their relationship more, how they got, it's like you have them kind of growing up as kids, and then Nina becomes this like supermodel, and from like the time that happens to present day, we don't really get a lot of information. And there's stuff going on with the other siblings, like Jay becomes a surfer, Hud becomes this like crazy photographer, like that's a really good photographer. It's like I would have loved to see more development of that, and then have this thing that happened in the party just like kind of blow up. I feel like you could have captured how crazy the party was getting if she focused more on the siblings' point of views as well. Like, I didn't care to hear about those other people at the party because they meant nothing in the story. At the end of the day, like it was like filler. And then, oh, what's her name? Casey, I think her name. Yeah, Casey, the character Casey. I hated that storyline. That was pointless. And that's all I'm gonna say about that part. Because I really love the 4 siblings. So yeah, it was an okay book. It was okay. I definitely prefer The Seven Husbands. And then the second book that I finished was amazing. So this was Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. So if you cannot handle sexual assault, this is not the book for you. I will say that there isn't a lot of like detail that she writes when that part happens, but it's still a paragraph, and there still is talk about the outcomes of sexual assault. So if any like form of that topic is really hard for you, I would not recommend this book. But guys, I cried like twice, and I rarely cry for books. This is going in my top favorite 5 of all time. I gotta collect my thoughts here. I gotta really talk about it. So this book follows wildlife biologist Inti, and she is reintroducing wolves. She's from Australia, but her dad is from British Columbia, so it kind of takes you back and forth between these 2 parts, and it is a story that you go present day and also flashes back to the past. And so Inti is a wildlife biologist who specifically studies wolves, and they are reintroducing wolves into Scotland. And she also has a sister, Aggie, a twin sister, but Aggie has been through a lot, and she's kind of working through it herself, like processing her own trauma in life. And so this book kind of follows that reintroduction of the wolves in Scotland, as well as the issues that have occurred, the traumatic experience that Aggie has gone through. It goes through a murder mystery and also a romance. And this is like 256 pages. So it's kind of a lot. I actually wouldn't have minded this book being longer, because I would have loved to see more of the romance taking place. And I don't know, I have kind of mixed feelings about the murder, just because I feel like when I read some like nature inspired books with like really strong women characters, it ends up being a murder mystery too. And in the end, I understand how that all ties together, and I understand the I understand how it tied together. I'm like, okay, I see how that brought out that storyline a bit more. But I feel like the author maybe could have done it without the murder, but also I will say, I think out of all the books that I read that has the murder mystery, this one kind of makes the most sense as to why it's actually put in there. And it also, so my like dream species to study are wolves. But wolves are very political, as this book has highlighted. Although I do think it kind of can show how working as a community can actually help the reintroduction of wolves. Obviously, there are people out there who think wolves are the devil and will never accept them around their property. But I think there are a lot of people who are kind of similar to this that can be kind of won over. But again, you just have to work as a community on such a controversial topic as reintroduction of wolves. So there was something that happened with wolf number 9. I bawled my eyes out. And then at the end of this book, I also cried. And yeah, again, I just would have loved to see that romance, kind of a little bit more of that, and that budding romance with it, because I just like that. But yeah, highly recommend if you can read storylines of sexual assault. And then the last book that I have to talk about, I'm not really talking about it, but just what I'm reading, is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This was my book of the month. Sorry, not book of my month. This is my book club's book choice for this month. I'm not very far. I think I'm like 34 pages in. Thrillers aren't like my favorite kind of books, so it's just taking me a little bit to get into it. You would think I would be wanting to read this for this time of year, but just again, it's just not my. I'd rather read like supernatural books around this time of year, or like supernatural romance books. But yeah, I'll let you know what I think at the end of it. And that is that's it. That's all I got for you. So if you are still around, thank you so much. And again, if you want to enter in for the giveaway, just leave me something fall themed down below in the comments. And if you're making a half and half triangles wrap, let me know what colors you're using, because I love seeing everyone's color combos. But besides that, I hope you guys have a fabulous start to your fall and have a wonderful week, rest of your week, weekend, day, whenever you watch this. And I will talk to you later. Bye.